Welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. We're going to jump right in today, Mike.
Let's do it.
They know who we are at this point.
They know who we are.
I think it's episode 187.
Awesome, man.
If you don't know that Mike and I host this podcast by now,
then you probably are a new listener. Welcome.
Jumping in. House hacking, man. House hacking. I love it. I think it's one of the easiest ways to get started investing in real estate.
Well, house hacking. So what is house hacking, Dave? Let's just cover that right off the bat. If you've not heard of the term house hacking before,
right?
It's essentially buying a house, and it could be even as simple as buying a single-family house and renting out some of the rooms in that house to cover your mortgage or to help you pay that mortgage. So it's as simple as that. Using real estate to live for free.
Yep.
I think more often than not, at least in my brain anyways, I think of it as buying a multifamily property, either a duplex, triplex, quad, and living in one unit and then renting out the others and having the other units pay for yours, pay for your part of the mortgage or your portion of it. So you get to, again, live in a house for free.
I love it.
So
you don't have to be a single family.
Right. That's what house hacking is, in the simplest terms. So I know that, Dave, I think you started your real estate investing journey doing a house hack, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was single family. Lived in it. Rented out 3 rooms. Basically broke even. I had to pay utilities.
Yeah, awesome.
But so what? I was paying that anyway. Everyone's paying that. And did it 2 more times. Did it 3 times while I was in college.
Awesome.
But it was a 4-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom.
Did you keep those properties? You said you did it 3 times.
I own 2 of the 3 to this day. But I moved into them basically, and then rented out the other rooms. And then when I moved out, I would just rent them out.
Yeah, so you were a serial house hacker.
I was.
That's awesome, man.
So you did a different approach.
This has got to be 10 years ago, right?
15, dude. I was 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Most of those houses are like probably about 40% of the debt left from when I originally bought them.
Time to refinance, baby. Get some
Pull
of that
them out.
Get some of that money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Time was on my side with those for sure.
That's cool, man.
But you were
Very
absolutely right, Mike. You don't have to have a single family to do this. You can do it with small multis. I think probably up to 4.
4 is where the FHA, I think, stops. So
Okay.
if it's 5 units or more, I don't think you can get an FHA loan. The reason we mentioned that, the FHA loan is a beautiful thing for first-time home buyers because you can put as little as, I think,
3.5%?
2.5%, 3.5% down. It's very little.
Right. And a veteran can do it for 0.
For pretty much nothing. Yeah, if you have a VA loan.
VA, right.
So what that means, again, is up to 4 units, and that's what I did. So my story is very similar to Dave. I started in 2009, so I graduated college before I bought my first piece of real estate. Don't know why I waited. Just did. Didn't have.
Most people do. Most
didn't have the
people
money.
wait until they're 30 years old to buy a piece of real
Exactly.
estate.
So what I did, I bought a 4-family in a decent little area here in St. Louis, and I lived in one of the units, and I was the on-site property manager for the other 3 units, and I learned a ton from that experience.
So let's talk about some of the advantages of doing this, Mike.
Let's do
I think this is really one of the best ways to get into because little to no money if you're a first-time buyer. So this is going to be you buying a home to live in, but also you can get some investor experience. I love this. So you instantly become a landlord when you do this.
Mm-hmm.
If they're in the home with you in other bedrooms or if they're in a unit that's above you or next to you, you now are the landlord. So you are going to be dealing with these people and collecting rent and signing leases. So boom, you're getting into the investor games, paperwork and deals. Like, can't be an investor if you don't make offers on properties, and you know what I'm saying. Like, you gotta get in. You gotta get in it. You gotta get invested, and you're gonna start managing the property. Again, it doesn't matter if it's bedrooms or if it's that 2nd unit, 3rd unit, 4th unit. And hopefully you would be able to break even. Even if you don't, though, let's say you live in some crazy place. Like there are places in the world where a building costs $600,000, but it rents for $600 a unit, and there's 2 or 3 of them. Like there really are. It's crazy. I don't know why it's like that, but there are.
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right? In England, for example, because they have rent controls.
I was gonna say rent controls.
Yeah, and they won't let you do market rate above, and people that have been there for a long time. But even if that's the case, though, right, and it can cover half or 3/4 of your mortgage, and not all of it, it's still a better way than just going and buying a house and living in it by yourself, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, to me, why not? Again, if you can make additional income, why wouldn't you?
Right. Absolutely. So I love it. I mean, there's the only disadvantage of it would be you're going to have strangers in your house, not strangers, but like, tenants.
Well, and
in it if it's a house or in the building, but that's okay.
That's kind of depends on your age and how you do it too, though. If it's a single family house and you're going to rent out rooms, I mean, if you're going to have a roommate, I mean, think about it just like that. I mean, if you have a roommate, that's not a big deal.
No, not
like
at all.
if you're going to have a roommate, they're going to pay
in
part
an
of the
apartment
rent
anyway.
Exactly. You might do that anyways.
Right.
So what's the big deal? If you were planning on living by yourself and you're going to rent it to a stranger, that's a little bit different.
It's a little different. But if it's a unit, I mean, if it's a different unit, a duplex or a triplex, that's probably what's going to happen anyway.
Exactly. You're going to have somebody in there.
It's not going to matter. But the cool thing is if you do have friends you want to live with, why live in an apartment with them? Live in that.
Mm-hmm.
Let them help you get your rent cheaper and or, build equity and sometimes even cash flow.
That would have been really fun to rent
Did you cash flow?
a multi-family to your friends and all live in the same
Oh,
units?
it'd be awesme.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
a really
like a
good
little
time.
4-family and
Yeah, that'd be great.
it'd be awesome.
I'm going to do that.
You should. That's right.
No. So mine, I was pretty much break even when I was living there.
But that's perfect, though.
Mhm.
I mean, anywhere else, in any other situation, you'd be paying rent.
You would have a mortgage to pay.
Right.
Yeah, so the fact that I could live there
I mean,
without...
living is expensive.
It's most people's most expensive item on their budget. Just living.
Living. Getting through.
Just having a shelter is most people's biggest expense. That's crazy,
yeah,
right?
It's nuts, man. Mine's
So-
like Amazon, I think.
Shit. Yeah, so if you can eliminate your biggest expense through house hacking, why not? It's a great way to get started. It can be humbling though too. Again, to rent a room to a stranger. I've done that before too.
Yeah.
So my next house I bought and rented a room.
Yeah, subleasing. I mean,
Yeah.
our current property manager does that with tenants now. They may break up. They may get a divorce. I mean, shit happens, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And they just say, okay, well, as long as you're responsible for the lease still, you want to get someone else on the lease, great. They're moving out, they're moving in, it happens. But that's just part of it. I think a lot of lessons are learned because it teaches you to also be flexible. You got to wheel and deal in business. You bend a little rule here and there, but that's okay. You're in the game. There's so much analysis paralysis out there. And it sucks because we don't have it. Maybe we have the little bit too much of the opposite. We just jump in. We're like, oh, let's do it.
We definitely do not analyze as much as we used to.
We
We're
bought
just
a house today. You didn't even see. I did.
Whoa. We both saw it. It's cool. Our rule is we got to get two eyes on it before we buy.
No, you looked at the photos, and that's why I went there to take them.
Whoa. Yeah. No. We do, but again, you get a certain comfort level, and that's something we've built up over 5 years working together and just our experience in the industry.
I like the house.
Yeah, we like the house.
It's a really nice house.
There you go.
I'll keep it for
Solid.
myself.
It's brick, man.
But you got to get in the game. So
Okay.
that's why I think it's really important.
So let's circle back to house hacking and let's talk a little bit more about what you did, which is really cool. So, say you start out and you can afford one house. So you buy.
I couldn't
Couldn't
afford
afford
one
one.
house. I got a loan for 20% from my grandparents,
Awesome.
and they co-signed.
Wow.
So they're really awesome people.
So you were 100%.
No longer with us at this time, but they were the best. I loved them to death.
Yeah.
They hooked it up. Like they didn't give me money. I paid them back. Paid them all that money
That's
back.
awesome.
I did it 3 times.
So that was 100%.
Actually, on the
finance, though,
second
really.
and third one, I had other people co-sign in other loans, but I was giving them an interest rate. My grandparents did the first one, and there was no interest rate. But I was basically in the game with hard money lenders back then, but didn't know what I was doing. So that didn't matter. But I borrowed the 20%, so it was a lot of money. It was $30,000 for a $150,000 house, and I would pay them back over 4, 5, 6 years.
Why'd you have to borrow the 20%? I guess you wouldn't qualify for the FHA loan or something?
You know what? I don't even know why. I went conventional.
Yeah.
I just went conventional. Here's the thing. I didn't know.
Yeah. You
It
just
wasn't-
wanted to buy a
It
house.
wasn't analysis paralysis. It was just negligence or whatever, like of not knowing those options. Oh, shit. You know, like just
Right.
not knowing. So I just figured this is how people do it. I didn't know.
You got to have 20%.
I banked at Bank of America, still do. And I walked for just day to day, because there's ATMs everywhere. I walked into the bank that I was just going to at the time in college, and I go, I need a loan.
And they said, here's what you need.
The guy selling it was probably like, I could sell him an FHA and make 2%, or I could sell him a conventional. I mean, who knows, dude?
Yeah,
But
whatever.
That's what happened, though. Yeah, I did it 3 times, basically, while I was living there. And I had, $100K of debt, but it was good debt that I was just paying these people back. And I paid them off in like 5 or 6 years. That was just the 20% part, not the houses. And then since then, I just haven't even touched them, really. I've been making double payments on because they're 30-year loans.
Dude, they're probably almost paid off then.
No, not double payments. So that's the caveat. When I say double payment and the payment's $600, I'm not paying $1,200. The principal on that payment would be $200. So I'm paying $200 over the 6.
Ah, gotcha.
I'm paying $8 or $9 or $10 or whatever it is, but essentially it's doing double principal. So it's just speeding the curve up on the amortization table. Like I said, I got about 40% debt. Usually I'd be at 55 to 60%.
After
over
15
15
years.
years, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to speed it up a little bit. But in each of those cases, Mike, you were right. They were houses. They weren't different units, right? We all lived together and shared the kitchen sink and
the
toilets
bathrooms
and everything.
yep.
Right. And the front door and the garage. Who's parking here? Who's parking there? But we just made it work. We were all friends. I didn't have any strangers living with me because it was just a single-family house.
Yeah, and that's a huge different dynamic if you're going to rent to a stranger and basically sub-rent a room and then still share common spaces. I mean, that is a big – it's a much different dynamic. But, again, there's ways to do that. So if you want to do that, if you don't have people that want to live with you or whatever, you can rent a room on Craigslist. I did it. I rented a room to a stranger.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. So you can actually put an exterior door on bedrooms, or if it's a solid wood door, you wouldn't need to do that. And you can put locks on it.
Put a lock on it.
Put an exterior lock.
$29.
Then you've got your privacy and you've got your security, so that there's a common key for the front and the common space. And then in your bedroom, you can lock away any of your private items or things that you don't want people to have access to.
Speaking of that, there's apartment complexes. I don't know if they're doing it still, but they were in Columbia. When the enrollment cut in half,
right,
because of all the drama they had down there, so apartments weren't filling up. There was 30% occupancy in some of these apartments, and they were doing that. They were offering discounts because they didn't want to give one person a 3-bedroom apartment, so they were giving people discounts and just saying, "Hey, there's going to be 3 individual rooms with individual locks. Everyone's going to share the kitchen and the family room." And instead of them paying $1,200, they'd pay $550, and there'd be 3 of them in there. And they would get the same amount as if they had just leased it. It was interesting. Yeah. But what I'm going with, though, is it's the same thing. You can still offer that privacy and have the common areas. And a lot of big buildings have common areas. They're just not the more intimate common areas. Like, you're going to have common laundry in a big building anyway, right?
Exactly.
So, and common entry and all that other type of stuff. So, I absolutely love it, though. Did you go FHA?
I did.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So when I bought mine, I was able to do the FHA loan. And again, because I was out of college, I had a job, so I was bankable by myself, which was great.
W-2.
Had a year and a half or so of W-2, and had a great real estate agent. She helped me find the deal and helped me through the whole process because I didn't know nothing either. I mean, I still don't know that much. To be totally honest,
we feel fast and forward though.
We do, and so it was very interesting. We had a problem tenant from day one. That when the previous owner said, yeah, they're delinquent. So I bought this property 3.5% down.
So they were delinquent when you bought it?
Yeah, one of the 4 units was.
Okay.
Because it's a 4-unit building. So
Baldwin,
they were
delinquent.
Huh?
Isn't it Baldwin?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was delinquent. So my first experience as a landlord was evicting someone.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, though, you were in the game from day one.
So it was just a very interesting experience. And he was, I don't really know, but I mean, at the time, I thought, well, this guy's crazy. He's like the worst possible tenant. I don't really know. I mean, with today's eyes, after 10 years of dealing with people and tenants, I don't know.
I'm happy.
The other people in the building,
the
other people in the building didn't like him. He caused problems. So again, he was definitely a problem tenant, and he was behind on rent, so we had to evict him. So that's what I did. I mean, that was one of my very first
What
experiences.
did that process look like?
I don't even remember. I just remember him not paying, and
You
I
got
had
a lawyer, I'm assuming?
yeah.
Usually the lawyer does everything.
Pretty
They
much.
just tell you when to go.
Pretty much.
get your
And the
place
real
back.
estate agent, if I remember correctly, helped me with that process.
That's cool too. Yeah.
So we got one of the units vacant. And then as a rookie, I don't know what I'm doing. The other 3 started paying me rent. That was really cool. And I wanted to go in and fix up the apartment. You know?
Cool. Did you?
I did. And I way over improved
Oh,
it.
always do that.
Way over improved the apartment.
My first rehab, $40 a foot in Ferguson.
Yeah.
That's what I spent.
Perfect.
Yeah, I still own it. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I've been there. It looks great.
Over the top. Yeah, shit.
So it's a two. They were tiny little apartments. They're 2-bedroom, 1 bath, about 700 square foot. And I wanted to, rehab it. It was exciting. It's my
you
first
were
home.
watching the Flip This Shit on TV show.
So I did. So we ripped everything out, put in new kitchen cabinets. I put in a dishwasher. None of the other units had dishwashers, so that was great. Opened up a wall. It's 700 square foot.
You got dusty.
There's 700 square foot.
Dirty.
There's not many walls you can open up.
Yeah.
But again, just opened it up and made a little bar area. So I mean, it was great, and I really liked living there. But yeah, so again, I learned a lot of lessons. Don't over improve the property. Still own the property. Cool. And that's one of those ones that's emotional. It'll be hard to sell because it's your first.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
If there's a big fat check in front of me, maybe
I know.
So
it just depends on what's going on at this
and then
time.
what did I do next? And that was pretty much it. Then my next property was when I moved, and I moved to another one and rented subleased a room. So I mean, I really only kind of. And my intent wasn't even to house hack again. It just ended up I did that.
Yeah, you were in the Airbnb
on.
Game before the Airbnb game was a game.
Thing,
really, just like renting out a room. Savvy.
It was a house hacking thing. Yeah, baby.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's a great way to get started too, guys, because if you don't want to house hack multiple times, you don't have to. By getting the first one, you're building really good credit with your banker, assuming it's a local banker. But anyway, you're going to get credit out of it. So your mortgage being paid every month is going to start getting green checks on your credit report, not red checks. And then whenever you go to get another loan in the future, as a personal loan or as an investment loan, the odds of you getting that loan is going to be higher. Wouldn't you agree, Mike? Like greater, because you have shown you can do it. That's the experience.
100%. I was going to say it's the experience. So you now have the experience of being a landlord. So hopefully you're smart and you start putting that money in a separate account, and you're able to show a payment history to bankers. So then when you're ready to go for the next property rental finance, you've got a track record. And that's huge for banks, is the track record.
And if you want to quit your job, do that 2 years in a row and get financials on it, right? So now you have tax records to show there's profit and loss, and you can start getting loans on your business. Now, that's going to depend on the numbers on the sheets that you're providing, but filing the taxes on those businesses is a way to jumpstart quitting your job, in my opinion. I mean, it's related in a way.
No,
if you just quit your job, boom, nothing. You're not going to be able to get a loan.
Well, my advice would be, guys, keep the W-2 job as long as you can handle it. I quit my W-2 job earlier than I should have, and I didn't learn that until 5 years later, I mean, it's one of those things where that W-2 income is super, super important for getting loans and leveraging yourself in real estate. So, house hacking.
House hacking. I love it, though, man. It's such a great strategy.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about, Dave?
I think that pretty much covers it. Keep it simple. You're just renting out rooms. The goal will be to break even or even make a little bit of money and get into the investment world, guys. Start managing the places. Start managing the people. Learn the documents that are involved. It's just simple stuff, and that's gonna be a way to kind of kill the analysis paralysis of I want to be a real estate investor or landlord. Just jump in.
Just do it.
Love it. Signing off, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, please visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support, and remember, you make your money when you buy, and you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.